Hey guys, welcome to Rant and Review. This week we thought we'd do a special video in light of recent news. Daniel Craig has announced that he has left the role of James Bond.
Just sad times.
Yeah, he's moving on. We both agree he's a great Bond.
He's really, really good Bond. He is getting on.
When he was chosen, he was a controversial choice, I think. Everyone, made a big thing about Bond being blonde, but
he's in good shape still. I thought he was a great Bond, really.
yeah, he looks the part, he acts the part, he's really good.
But it's had to come to an end. So today we're going to be talking and reviewing Spectre, and we're also going to be talking about potential next Bond candidates and who we think would fit the bill.
So obviously Spectre's coming out soon on DVD, so we thought it was only right that we look back and give a little review. This is an interesting one because it's going to be a bit of a movie battle here. It polarised us slightly because while we both enjoyed the film, we enjoyed it to different extents. So you enjoyed it a bit more than me. First of all, I really enjoyed Skyfall. I thought it was really good. It was a return to form after the Quantum of rubbish.
Quantum of Solace is absolutely disgusting.
It's not a Bond.
It's a stench.
It's not even a film.
Liam Neeson's done better movies than Quantum of Solace.
That's saying something. And so yeah, Skyfall came along, directed by Sam Mendes, and the whole team just did a really good job. Really surprised me. I went to the cinema with very low expectations and came away very impressed.
It's an excellent film. I think Judi Dench obviously plays that role brilliantly, and her relationship with Daniel Craig is excellent. For me, it's a very good film. It's not necessarily a very good Bond film.
That's a fair comment. I'd agree. It's a very good film. And then Spectre came along, directed by Sam Mendes again. So basically, for those who haven't seen it, Bond receives a cryptic message from his past. It sends him on a trail to start off in Mexico City, goes to Rome, finally ends up in Africa. Got to take down a secret organisation while M battles politics back in England.
So it stars Christoph Waltz, Lea Seydoux, Ray Fiennes, Ben Whishaw and Andrew Scott. Andrew Scott was famously known for Sherlock.
Genius.
He is an incredible actor. He's an incredible actor, and again, he plays the character we don't like, even though we do kind of like him in a way. But he's got that acting style. He's so calm. He's just so fluid in his performances. So the film, yeah, I think the opening sequence is one of the best opening sequences I've seen in a Bond film for a long time.
I definitely agree with that. One of the most exciting opening sequences in any film, really. It's really
gripping. And
yeah.
It's clever, and there's a huge cast for that film. There's a lot of people. And so it's written as well by John Logan and Neil Purvis, who also did Skyfall and Quantum of Solace somehow. So they've written two great films and Quantum of Solace. How does that work? I don't know. The bits that I absolutely loved about Spectre, I think it's brilliant. I think it's one of the best Bond films for a long time. And here's why. Because there's so many different references to all the other Bond films. It's the Bond film that was needed to be made, I feel, after Skyfall. Skyfall brought it back to Bond being a good film. After Quantum of Solace, like I say, that was just terrible. Skyfall was needed to be made by Sam Mendes, it was written brilliantly, and it brought Bond back to being good. Spectre then needed to be made to restart the whole Bond series and get it back to being James Bond, the classic Bond. So all the classic villains, the classic gadgets, the classic cars, what everyone loves about Bond. This movie is for Bond fans. It's not perfect, but it's so Bond, and that's what I came out of. I wanted to go into that film watching a Bond film. And that's exactly what I got out of it. I counted nearly 23 different references from all the other films. It's just so clever. They're subtle hints, but you notice them obviously if you're a massive Bond fan like myself. I just thought it was really, really good. Action-packed, again, exactly what you want from a Bond film. Yeah, there are a few plot holes and a few faults with the film. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying it's exactly what the Bond series needs to be done. So with Skyfall and Spectre, we have Bond back on track.
Well, I would agree. It felt more like a Bond film than Skyfall. Skyfall was a great action film, and I think what Sam Mendes did, I think he was an interesting choice as director, but I think he was actually a really good choice, because before that, I think the most interesting action scene he'd ever shot was the bit in American Beauty where the carrier bag floats around. Other than that, that's about it. And then he did Bond, and I think because he's got such this kind of stylized vision, it feels slicker, it feels classy, which is what Bond should feel like. But at the same time, they've set up over the last few films this very gritty, kind of more grounded kind of style in keeping with more modern action films like the Bourne films, for instance. But then obviously you've got that Bond class. Now this is where some people might have a problem with the film, where they might feel those two styles don't really go together, they kind of clash. I felt that. It's just minor niggles for me. I'm not as big a Bond fan, so I might not have noticed those references in there. I might not have appreciated the different nods to different Bond films. While some people might enjoy those references, I felt it was more like a by-the-numbers Bond film. They've done Skyfall, as you said, they've got it out of the way, they've set it up to be a good series again, and then they come along and you've got Bond, you've got the girls, you've got the gadgets, you've got the car, and it was a bit like watching the same thing over and over again. At times, it felt like they were almost dipping into kind of Pierce Brosnan era territory, especially the bit when he's in the plane and suddenly it loses its wings and then it's just kind of gliding down a hill. That bit almost got silly. They just about got away with it. They just about pulled it back at the last minute. But again, it was dipping into that territory, which is been and gone. Those films haven't aged well. They're quite silly now. Obviously, Bond can be a bit silly sometimes.
It brought the humour back into Bond, which is, you've got to have humour in Bond films. And obviously Skyfall was very serious and not as much humour. This got the humour back into Bond. I think that was important.
At the same time, because it was trying to be this gritty and also classy film, then injecting humour into it, there's just a lot going on, and some of those thematic styles didn't quite blend for me. Niggles with pacing, it kind of fell a bit flat after the brilliant opening sequence. As I said, really good opening sequence. It gripped me. I was suddenly so into watching this film, I was so ready to watch it. And then it just fell a little bit flat after that. You've got the sort of byplot of the politics, which no one really wants to see in a Bond film or in maybe any kind of film. And then they meet the bad guy at the end who isn't all that threatening for me, if I'm honest. There were better villains in the same film. Dave Bautista is also in it, and he does a very good job as the typical odd job type character who plays Hinks. He's really good and quite threatening, quite intense. And Christoph Waltz, brilliant actor.
I think Christoph Waltz did a brilliant job. I did feel threatened by the bad guy. Obviously a classic Bond villain. I thought that was done really well. But, agree to disagree.
He's a good actor, and he does well with the script that he's given. I just felt that he was slightly underdeveloped. I didn't believe the ties that he had with a younger James Bond. I didn't believe they had this prior relationship. It was kind of shoehorned in and it didn't feel developed enough. He felt just quite underwhelming. He comes in, he talks a bit. All he's doing is gathering information, which didn't feel like a very threatening plot. It was all very convenient at the end when they blow up the bad guy's base. It all just blows up very easily.
But for me, that's just a classic Bond reference. I think that's just great.
But then at the same time,
this is Bond back to its best.
But going by the numbers and just repeating what's gone before as a way of saying, oh look, nostalgia,
I don't feel like you can compare Bond films to other thrillers. I think they're in their own category, and if you're a Bond fan, you get what you want. And that's exactly what you get. You get exactly what you want, and it's predictable because it's Bond, and that's what makes a classic Bond film.
I think that's the reason I like Skyfall, because it felt like Bond, but it also felt different. They weren't very predictable.
It's definitely darker.
It wasn't your normal Bond kind of thing. Maybe I like that because I'm not the biggest Bond fan. I do like Bond films, but I'm not as big a fan as you. And it reminded me a bit like the new Star Wars film, Force Awakens. A lot of people criticised it because they felt it was too similar to the original film. Some people liked it because of that, some people didn't. Some people think nostalgia isn't an excuse for quality, but I still enjoyed it, so I can maybe see why you would still enjoy Spectre.
Yes, I think it's exactly that same kind of thing they've brought back to making it an original classic in a way, even though it's much more modern. It's still an original classic. Anyway, moving on, that's what we think of Spectre. We're now going to talk about candidates for the next Bond film. We have narrowed it down to our 5 top picks for the next Bond.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about some you might have heard of and some of our own personal choices. So we're going to start straight away with Idris Elba. Now, he is a name that's been thrown around quite a lot and talking about who the next Bond is going to be. I think he's been in the works for over a year.
He's a great actor. Obviously, he's known recently for Beast of No Nation, Luther, and he's also in The Wire.
He's a very capable actor, British obviously, and
I think he's got that class that Bond needs.
Yeah, he's got a class in there, and he could also bring something new to the table.
He's option number 1. Option number 2, we've gone controversially for Tom Hiddleston.
Again, he's got this class about him. Obviously, he's famous for Avengers and Thor, and more recently, High Rise by Ben Wheatley. Love Ben Wheatley.
He'd be a different Bond, Tom Hiddleston.
Very different.
Very different.
But
in a weird way, I think it could work. He's sort of on the outside, on the fence.
Yes. Moving on, we've gone for another controversial choice here. We're going to talk about Christian Bale. Again, one which I think he has been considered maybe by some people.
Yeah, not too many have mentioned him, and I think he's gone under the radar. I think he could be a very, very good James Bond.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really considered, but obviously he's done huge roles like the Dark Knight trilogy, American Psycho, The Machinist.
He's in The Prestige as well, which is a really flawless film. He's got the build for Bond. He knows how to play a big role. He's done it before. He's got the experience. He's got the look.
He's brilliant, really. Yeah. He's always committed to whatever he does as well. Yeah, so I think he'd be very, very good.
The next one we're going to talk about is a very well-known actor, especially in recent years, is Tom Hardy.
Brilliant actor.
And I think he'll be up with a lot of people's favourites to be the next Bond, because we know he's a great looking bloke. He's got the build for sure. He's really come into his own in the last couple of years in acting with films like Mad Max, obviously The Dark Knight Rises, playing Bane. More recently, we've got Legend as well, where he carries the whole film.
Yeah,
he really takes that whole film. If it wasn't for him in that film would not be a great film. Obviously, he stars in The Revenant, nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and you can see why.
He's got a very wide range of acting roles when they're all very different. He does so well in all of them, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, Legend could be his warm-up gig because he wears the suit, he's dressed like Bond, slick back hair, gets the girl. Could he be the next Bond?
Maybe that was his audition take, the whole of Legend. We're going to finish with our personal favourite for the role, Michael Fassbender. Again, he's a name that's been talked about a lot. I know we keep saying it, but he's got that class about him. But he's also got the build. He could be quite suave, but he could also be the action.
He's got the looks as well. I think he deserves the role. I think he's worked so hard.
Like, he's had some excellent roles in recent years. The Stephen Queen films, Shame and 12 Years a Slave. How he didn't get the Best Supporting Actor of 12 Years a Slave at the BAFTAs, I've no idea.
Yeah, he was incredible in that film. He's an incredible actor.
Yeah, also more recently, more mainstream, the X-Men films, playing a young Magneto. Again, does an excellent job. And I just think he's earned his place as the next Bond. So if he gets the role, excellent. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we've done our review of Spectre and the potential next Bond. We'll be back, hopefully, in the next couple of days.
So hopefully we've given you lots to think about. Who do you think should be the next Bond? Let us know in the comments below. Give us a like, subscribe if you don't already, and see you soon.
Thank you very much.